As the saying goes, the show must go on. There may not be any live international hockey to bring you this weekend, but we at GB Hockey are committed to ensuring that you, the pride, get your fix. Make sure you're sitting comfortably because hockey's in-house weekend is about to kick off. This is Inside the Circle.
I can see the ball. Where's the ball?
Does tea taste better when made by yourself or made by someone else?
Got into Lego again.
Certainly an amazing time.
I had a neighbour who I often do some shopping for that put like Prosecco, wine.
I think it's generally better made by myself. Spent a lot of time finding quite amazing walks actually all over Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire.
In like Batman, when you punch someone, it'll pow. Yeah, next.
One of the sort of favourite moments that we get to do as a hockey player is play at home in front of a home crowd.
She's really helped me become me again. Yeah, I imagine probably all coaches who ask this question may say the same thing, and that is, oh brilliant, another year of preparation really.
Busy second, where did that go? Did that go in? And it didn't record.
Thank you!
We have got an action-packed show coming your way today, including the first part of an exclusive Cuppa and Natter with Emily Defrond and England Hockey Chief Exec Nick Pink. We've also got interviews and challenges with Susanna Townsend, Holly Pernwebb, Danny Kerry, Mark Hager, George Pinner and Adam Dixon, so make sure you don't go anywhere. Feel free to share with us how you're watching the show by uploading your photos to Twitter and Instagram using any of the hashtags at the bottom of your screen now. We can't, as I said before, bring you any live international hockey action today, but we can get your hockey juices flowing by showing you some highlights of when our women took on the Belgians 2 weeks ago in the FIH Hockey Pro League.
So Belgium in the all-red strip attacking the goal to our left-hand side. Get this second game against Great Britain underway. Unsworth. Oh, Owsley manages to win it back. Owsley driving. Owsley pulls it back. And the shot from Tess Howard is somehow being kept out. On the left-hand castle. It goes to Anna Toman though. Toman, the slap and the deflection by Howard. Was it or Owsley? Owsley, I think, gets the deflection and beats Elena Sotke, and it's Great Britain who have the early lead like they did yesterday. Now a chance here for number 18. Oh, lovely looking ball. Henniers into the circle, and there's the equaliser. Barbara Nayland levels it up inside, 28 seconds of the restart. Two players on this right-hand side for Great Britain. Only Lily Owsley on the left. A straight flick. There is Owsley on the rebound, straight back into the keeper. And it's a Belgian free hit. Sodku. I'm not sure the offence happened where it happened, but Alex Hennies is going to take full advantage. Strike into the circle. Shot comes in and Hesh makes the save. Good ball from Robertson. Hunter through, now chance here. Across the face of goal, and Townsend can't get on the end of it. That was an opportunity. Neil. Toman. She's going to turn herself into some trouble here. And she's lost possession. And here is an opportunity perhaps to the top of the circle. Strike! Has put it over the bar. Well, they get fortunate there, Great Britain. It comes off Van der Meeren stick to Ellie Rea. Rea going around the outside. Rea into the circle, gets her head up. Rea, that's a horrible looking tackle, and there's the penalty corner.
Yeah, as you said, a fortunate pass into the middle.
Penalty corner number 7, Ballston. And the deflection by Robertson at the far post. And they get their second goal. Well, that was much slicker to eliminate the press, and they do that. And now they've got the opportunity because they're breaking at pace. Howard needs to shift it on. She does. Here is Townsend. Townsend takes the extra touch, comes inside, shoots the far post. Keeper makes the save. It's still there. And here is Van den Border to get it clear. But that is the classic way to break the press by Great Britain. They kept the ball moving at pace.
That is
Lovely skill from Lily Owsley. Now Joe Hunter running at the Belgian defence. Hunter into the circle, still going, and the shot comes in. Here's a chance for Robertson. Robertson trying to get it out. There's the shaved tackle from Nayland. It's still with Robertson. Robertson, it bounces to the far post, and Petter has missed it, and it's Hitter. Robertson across the face of goal. Shot comes up from Jones, and Sodgjø makes the save, scrambles it round the post. Hamilton. And it comes. Coming across is Jones. Jones with a shot into the ground. Wide of Sodgjø's right-hand post. Ball into the circle, well brought down by Nayland. Across the face of goal! And that was the deflection. It was Stevens in the circle. There is the final hooter. Despair for Belgium, but Great Britain finally have their win.
An impressive and very important victory there for the women's team that saw them move up to 4th in the FIH Hockey Pro League table at the time of recording. It's certainly been a couple of years of trials and tribulations for the squad, and this is something that we spoke to captain Holly Pern-Webb and fellow Rio 2016 gold medalist Susanna Townsend about. As well as this, we also discussed how they managed to get through the last 8 months or so, and how excited they are at the prospects of going for a second Olympic gold next summer.
I think initially, obviously, everyone was disappointed. We had our sights set on it, and it was only a few months away. And as Susanna said, in January, February, we felt that we had made a massive step up. And I think, obviously, Mark came in 2019, and I think it's taken both the squad and him a little bit of time to sort of get on the same page and know where we're going. And I think January, Feb, it had all started to click, and everyone started to feel that collective sort of buzz around the team that we were going somewhere. So yeah, slightly frustrating that obviously we had to stop, but at the same time, I think because we are a relatively young squad in terms of the amount of time we spent together as this group, and with Mark coming in, I think that extra year for us and our squad, I think it's a benefit to us. And so I'm just really looking forward to having this extra 12 months to see where this group can go.
Yeah, it's very much a feeling within a squad, and Holly and I felt it before in previous cycles, and it was a very similar feeling in January, and that's a really hard one to describe, but everyone felt it, and it's almost something that you don't talk about because it feels like it's right. And so for us, obviously what happened, it was disappointing. Having said that, I think having an extra year will only benefit us. Like Holly has said, Mark hasn't been here that long. It gives him a bit more time. We've now got Katie Glynn, who's a fantastic coach, and obviously Ralphie, who's been here for a while, and actually giving us an extra year it can only help us now. And obviously the initial disappointment, it was tough for everyone, especially us oldies that had to figure out how we get through another year. But having said that, I think it would give us a better chance of coming home with a gold medal. We had a couple of quizzes. I definitely peaked in the early quizzes. I wore my full kit to one of them, which I thought it could be the last time I'd wear it, so I was like, I'll wear it now. And then we based a lot of our meetings on the mental aspect of it and the struggles that people had, and also to counteract that, people were flying at the same time, people were enjoying the time away. So every person was different, and we had meetings every week, literally called Keeping Connected. And I think everyone actually looked forward to doing it, to catching up, asking literally, how are you? Which people in the world don't ask enough anyway, and actually getting to know each other and becoming vulnerable. Like, people had to show their vulnerability, because if you're struggling in that environment, which everyone did at times, and you're open about it, and then everyone can help you if you're not. And there's no hiding behind a camera in that sense, because you literally have to answer the question of how are you? I'm fine, I'm not fine, this is going on in my life, I'm struggling. And actually I think when we've continued having those conversations more and more since we've come back, and that's something that we've learnt about, and just to keep checking in and making sure that mentally we're all in as good a place as we are physically.
I enjoyed it actually. I guess I've lived there now for 3.5 years, but you don't get to know your neighbours because you're just so busy, and we're obviously lucky that we're all over the world playing hockey. So it just gave me a bit of time to get to know people that live around me, and especially the elderly and the vulnerable who needed their shopping doing every week or the prescriptions picking up. It gave me a sense of purpose while I wasn't at hockey, and it was obviously giving me a nice feeling of helping people out but getting to know people. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect too.
See, I bet your neighbours asked you for eggs and things, whereas I had a neighbour who I offered to do some shopping for that put like Prosecco, wine. So I was like, come on now, like, get you the essentials. I've been very open about how I felt, I think, over the last 3 years really, and that's on literally reflecting on how I've been, and some conversations with teammates, and some tough conversations I think that are not a lot of teams are able to have, and the benefit of us all being here and having people that have known you for years and years, they can tell you that. And I won't shy behind the fact that I don't feel like I've been at my best for the last couple of years, and for lots of reasons. Some I could have controlled, some I couldn't, and for me, I felt like I was going like this in January, February, and I felt like myself again. I felt like myself on the pitch again. So it was tough, but at the same time, I feel like it's given me that second chance, and not everyone gets that. It's given me a chance to finish my career the way I wanted to be a better player than I was, and to actually hold myself accountable now, because I won't get another chance at this. And for me, having that time to get my body back into the position it should be, to mentally prepare myself for coming back into this environment, it's stuff that I potentially haven't worked as hard as I should have in the last couple of years, and I really enjoyed the challenge, and actually I'm reaping the rewards, and hopefully the team will reap the rewards as well.
One of the sort of favourite moments that we get to do as a hockey player is play at home in front of a home crowd. I don't think it can get much better than that. So yeah, next year, fingers crossed, all being well and everyone being safe, and we're able to get crowds back in, and yeah, get people watching hockey there face to face again, because there's something over, I guess, the last 6, 7, 8 years that's developed in this country, and it's come such a huge way. And we just had to look at the World Cup, I guess, in 2018. It was just incredible, the most incredible, I think, feeling as athletes you get is to step on that pitch in front of a home crowd. So we don't want to lose that. We want people to be able to see our sport for what it is and how exciting it is. So really looking forward to next year, all being well, everyone can get back. It's so important.
It's incredible playing in front of a crowd, and you have to, as shallow as it sounds, you have to dig a little bit deeper when there's not a crowd there, and actually it's quite a good challenge for us. We've all played in environments where there haven't been people watching. It's been our lives for a very long time, and thankfully, due to England hockey and Great Britain hockey, we've been able to play in front of those crowds. Examples of the Stoop, examples of the Home World Cup, and Holly and I definitely haven't experienced anything like that previous to that, I don't think. And for us in May, when eventually they get to watch us again, I think, like Holly said about us being back training, it's you appreciate those little things a lot more, and I think the crowd will as well, and there'll be a buzz, there'll be an excitement, and everyone will be thankful to be there to watch, hopefully, incredible hockey. And it will be an exciting time for us. Don't forget, May, it's very close to the Olympics, it's not far from Olympic selection, and people will be in that final phase of their sort of this Olympic journey, and that would be great for everyone to witness too.
Some very inspiring words there from Holly and Susanna, and we could not agree with them more. The next time they get to run out in front of you, the pride, at Lee Valley Hockey and Tennis Centre is going to be very special. Now, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, but just how in sync are George Pinner and Adam Dixon? Well, to put this to the test, we asked them to take on the Heads Up Challenge, which, for those of you who don't know, is quite similar to a game of charades. Let's see how they got on with George as the describer.
All right, now press play and hold up to your forehead. Okay, 3. In Jurassic Park.
T-Rex.
No, what are they?
Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
What's a gun? A weapon.
Yeah, next one. Oh, I'm looking out of the glass
window.
Next one.
In like Batman, when you punch someone, it'll pow. Yeah, next. My house is built of orange bricks. Yeah, next one. Not summer, not spring, not winter.
Autumn.
Yeah. I move around, waltz.
Dance.
Yeah. Tigger. What's the other one that eats honey?
Oh, Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, next one. Ash's nickname.
Worm.
Yeah, next one. Come on, it's not changing. Go to the
Dentist.
Yeah, next one. Bart's son.
Homer.
Yeah, what's his surname?
Simpson.
Get it. Done. Dead. That was good.
Oh.
A very creditable score of 11 there for George and Adam. But how will they get on when the roles are reversed? Tune into tomorrow's episode to find out. Now it's time to bring you a very special edition of Cuppa and a Natter, undoubtedly one of the biggest success stories of the last 8 months. Kicking off this special episode, we are delighted that Emily de Front could join us here on Hockey's In-House Weekend, and she is interviewing England Hockey Chief Exec Nick Pink. It's certainly been a whirlwind 12 months for Nick since he took over in the role. So let's find out what his highlights have been, and also the most important question, how he likes his cup of tea.
Hello everyone and welcome to a very special edition of Inside the Circle with myself, Emily de Front, and my very special guest today is the Chief Executive of England Hockey himself, Nick Pink. Nick, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Not at all. Very well, thanks, Emily, and thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, me too. So we've got 2 editions of this special Inside the Circle. The first edition, obviously, right now, we're going to find out how you like your tea and then reflecting on the last 12 months in charge of England Hockey. Tomorrow's edition will be slightly different, but I won't ruin that just yet. But to kick things off and to start every Cuppa and Natter with tradition, I'm going to ask you how you like your tea, and I'm sure everyone else is very intrigued by this, okay? So I'm going to do that by asking you 5 quick-fire questions, if that's all right.
Of course it is.
Okay. Question number 1, breakfast tea or herbal tea?
Breakfast tea.
Okay. Yorkshire, Twinings or Earl Grey?
Yorkshire.
Okay. Milk, sugar or neither?
Milk.
Okay, question number 4. This is a big one for me. To accompany your cup of tea, would you prefer a hobnob, a digestive biscuit, or a chocolate chip cookie?
I'm gonna have to think about this one. I was able to do quick fire on the others.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be a hobnob.
Hobnob, okay, valid. Last one. Does tea taste better when made by yourself or made by someone else?
Now that could be controversial, Emily. Could be controversial. I think it's generally better made by myself.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, to be fair, and I would have to agree with you on that one. I do agree that actually it's a bit risky asking someone else to do it, although it is quite nice at times.
My first few months at England Hockey, I was surprised by how many people actually just wanted to make their own tea because of this very question. So you're hitting on something quite important, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they've missed a trick not making the new boss a cup of tea and get on his good side. So I think, okay, at least everyone knows how you like your tea for future reference.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad we've covered this.
Very, very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to kick off. As I've said, this first Inside the Circle episode is looking back on the last 12 months as CEO of England Hockey. So you joined last November after a successful 4 years spent at England Golf. But I've heard a little rumour that actually your passion and history involved in the sport actually has lasted longer than the last 12 months. Is this correct? Are you a die-hard hockey fan, hockey player?
Yeah, so I'm yes, the rumours are true. So yeah, I've played hockey since since I can remember, probably, to be perfectly honest. It's been a part of my life, certainly since I was sort of 10, 11 years of age. And yeah, it's meant an enormous amount to me. So I've played at school, played club hockey, played university hockey, kept trying to play club hockey as sort of work life and career and everything else kept going through. I'd never say I was the best player, Emily. I was happy to help the better players in the team. Let's put it that way.
But yeah, no, hockey, if you were to talk to a sort of 16, 17-year-old Nick and ask him what his main sport would have been, he'd have told you it was hockey.
And I guess, I mean, you ask this to any hockey player and they all probably have a different answer, but what was the main thing that you loved back maybe when you were age 16 and hockey was, you know, your biggest passion? What was the main thing that you loved about the sport back then?
So what I loved about sport was the team part. And most of the sports I played were team sports. Ironically, you know, golf, perhaps more of an individual sport, which is, you know, the side of things, I guess, that I got to learn quite a lot about in the last 4 years. But it was the team bit. It was definitely the team bit. It was being part of a team, connecting in with people who are either better than you or striving to be as good as others potentially could be. Obviously the different positions, and it is different in hockey compared to, say, football, particularly when, you know, obviously the rules and the regulations that kind of sit around the sport, but you do need specialists in specialist positions, and that's obvious to say, but it does definitely play itself out, whether that's, you know, with penalty corners, whether it's obviously as you're starting to go forward, and you learn a lot on the tactical side as you sort of experience the sport more. So it's definitely the team side of things, Emily.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like the camaraderie that you get playing in a team sport and, you know, being around others that have the same passion as yourself about the sport is, I think, what makes our sport so special. And I guess, you know, you being part of the hockey family before last November, say, probably made your decision to apply for the job and the role as chief executive quite straightforward. Is that correct?
That's a really good question. So I remember speaking to Sally quite early on, and before she left, and I wasn't looking to leave where I was. I was enjoying my job. I enjoyed working for England Golf. Great company, great organisation, trying to do great things. And there were a lot of projects we were working on at the time. But when I remember dropping Sally a text message to say congratulations on her new role with UK Sport, and, you know, I knew the enormity of the decision she'd have had to have made because of her connections to the sport of hockey. And at that point, I hadn't made the logical thought process to then apply. And then a couple of people that know me pretty well and obviously know, I guess, my passion for the sport and love of hockey, naturally sort of started to drip feed things into me and start to sort of, you know, make it. And actually, it wasn't long before it made a very obvious decision to kind of put my name forward. And then I was over the moon when Royston phoned me up, just over almost 18 months ago now. I remember exactly where I was, in Bournemouth, on the south coast. It was a golf event that was running that we were hosting in Bournemouth. And yeah, I was over the moon, absolutely delighted.
Oh, well, speaking personally, I love the fact that we've got one of our own at the top. And actually, I think that's really important. And you get the sport and you're passionate about sport. So, you know, if anything, like the first 12 months is anything to go by, I'm sure you'll have a long, successful road ahead. But you came in in your role at quite an exciting time. So correct me if I'm wrong, but just the day before you actually officially started your role, that was when both the GB women's and men's hockey squads had qualified for Tokyo. And
correct.
You know, what was that like? Was there the buzz, the excitement I can imagine that you felt going into this new role, having come off the back of those results?
It was great, you know. I came into the organisation at the end of September for a day just to sort of meet various people and at least kind of sort of bridge the gap, if you like, and say hello, if nothing else. And that was great, and I really enjoyed that. I actually came and watched both the men and women that were training that day as well, and just sort of walked around with Ed and with Rich and a few of the other guys who were in the office, which was brilliant. And that generated that excitement that you've just talked about, because that is a difference, you know, coming in, get back to that team dynamic, which was really good. Then you go into that sort of whole sort of situation, and there was undoubtedly pressure for you and for the women's team, for the men's team as well, because it's a one-off weekend, isn't it? You know, that double header against Chile and Malaysia meant so much to both teams. And I was there on the Sunday, and the excitement that was generating from both games, actually, and both results was significant. And then I sort of walked into the office first thing Monday morning, my first experience of kind of walking in the new role and with the new office, if you like. And that excitement and that buzz that was around after those 2 victories and the successful, obviously, qualification of the Olympic Games, which meant so much to so many people. I was also quite pleased by some of the passwords that have been put on my laptop and phone and other things. And there was some good humour going on around sort of golf to hockey. You're in a better place now. There was a couple of things that what could have been if we hadn't qualified. There was all these sorts of great bits of humour that were there, and it made me realise that I've made just the right decision, which is great.
Well, I'm pleased that they made you feel at home straight away. And as you said, what a first day that would have been in terms of the buzz, the excitement off the back of the fantastic spectacle that was the Olympic qualifiers last November. I guess looking back though, you probably couldn't then have envisaged what the next 12 months would have held for you in terms of your first year within the role, facing a global pandemic amongst other different challenges that you probably had to overcome. What has the first year in this role brought you? What are the challenges that you've faced, and how have you overcome those?
Yeah, so COVID's the obvious one to start with, isn't it? And you've touched on that, Emily, with the global pandemic. None of us saw that coming. Even when those first reports out of Wuhan and China and everything else started to come through in January, I don't think anyone or any one of us expected it to lead to what it ultimately did. We were, in a way, hindsight's a good thing. We were getting towards the end of the hockey season. If I think about, the general hockey community and then the hockey family, as you've said, and that was really important to kind of get to that point. We were a couple of weeks, 3 weeks away from it being, I guess, ideal time to at least, for some teams and sub clubs get right through the season, but we didn't quite get there. But then, of course, it's disrupted everything since, and it's made a massive difference to hockey clubs up and down the country. That natural kind of summer league, summer season, even the return to hockey. And I've been so impressed by the way that so many of our community, if you like, the hockey community, have sort of jumped at the new rules, the new regulations that are in place, the COVID measures, the COVID officers who've gone above and beyond anything that I've ever seen, to be perfectly honest. And enabled league hockey to return as it did at a normal time at the end of September, early October for most people. And it's been brilliant to see it. It's just devastating that we've now got to a point, obviously last week, where we end up in another lockdown situation and the season stopping. But whilst that was probably the biggest challenge, it's also provided, I think, that opportunity of just, living and experiencing the quality of people and personnel that sit in the sport every single level, Emily, which has been great to see. It's brought some financial challenges, inevitably, because we lost that sort of whole sort of window of the Pro League game. So for you and the women's squad and the men's squad, of course, we were hoping to do another big stadium event at the Stoop. So we'd lined up Argentina for the middle of May. And there's obviously a commercial angle to all of this, as well as the opportunity for the sport. And that was a real shame, because I felt we could have built on real momentum of the previous year. And that's important for the visibility of the game. We've seen great strides made by everybody involved in the sport over the last 10 years. And this, for me, felt like a really important time leading into the Olympic Games, as should have been. And obviously that was a big shift and a big change that I remember the public debates, Emily, that were going on in kind of April and even into early May. Yeah. I know, and the IOC not wanting to make the ultimate decision with the Tokyo Organizing Committee, but they got there eventually, and it was the right decision, obviously. But that's a real shame for people and for the sport, and I think for the next generation coming through, that inspiration that happened in 2016, and obviously gold in 2016 make a big difference for GB women's hockey, but GB and England hockey more broadly. And I think that inspiration opportunity, that experience that's not been there, whether it's been watching it at the top end of the game, but also experiencing it at the community end of the game, which is so important, has been quite challenging. So those are probably 3 or 4 things I'd kind of naturally highlight. There's a load of other things that have happened, which, I guess what I've learned, having done the similar role at England Golf, is you've got to be ready for the unexpected sometimes, and things do come through. But I also know we've got an important role to play, Emily, as well. And there are some really important areas that we've got to focus in on. And you've been really supportive of the work that we've been doing around diversity and inclusion, for example. And that's an area that we must and we will take forward. And we've been in a really important space of listening and engaging. And you can't underestimate, in my view, the importance of doing that and taking the time to do it. And you and Reese and Tendo and many others have been involved in the workshops and the discussions, challenging me and others in all the right ways to make sure that we're being really honest and authentic about the approach we must take in this. And you know, I'm committed. This is long term. This is not short term tick box exercise. This is long term, and it will be. And there are going to be some bumps along the way, and there'll be some real opportunities along the way. But those would be some of the sort of reflections I've taken from the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you said. I guess no one could have prepared themselves for what we've kind of had in front of us over the last, few months. And actually, you've touched upon the time that actually this moment has brought us in terms of, you've mentioned the inclusion and diversity piece, which hopefully I'll be able to pick your brains a little bit further in the next edition coming to you tomorrow. But in terms of, the financial aspect of the knock-on of the pandemic, but also, for me personally, I think it's kind of really heightened the power of what the hockey family is all about. It's about the volunteers, as you said, so many people standing up, stepping up for their clubs to allow hockey to go on, especially over the last few months in particular. But, I look back and I think, wow, your first year involved in England hockey, I'm sure it's, you've faced plenty of challenges, but no doubt it'll only leave us in good stead moving forwards. Really, really interesting. And the problem is we're kind of pushed for time in that this could go on for absolutely ages, but I don't want to take all of the limelight from tomorrow's special edition of Inside the Circle. So I'll stop it there. Nick, Great. Thank you very much for enlightening us on your last 12 months involved in England hockey. I look forward to picking your brains further in tomorrow's edition. But in the meantime, keep that kettle boiled and keep nattering using #CupperandNatter. Take care, Nick. I'll see you shortly.
Cheers, Emily. Thanks very much. Take care.
Many thanks to Emily and Nick for that really insightful interview, and we cannot wait to bring you part 2 of Cuppa and a Natter in tomorrow's episode of Inside the Circle. Time for some more highlights now, and we're back over to Brussels to see how our men got on in their first game against Belgium in the FAH Hockey Pro League.
Alan Forsyth and Great Britain get this FIH Men's Hockey Pro League match underway. And Van Doren makes the save. I'm not sure I knew a lot about it. It seemed to hit him rather than he saved it.
Throw that 60, 70 yard overhead. That slap, that's a
lovely
great
pass, and what a touch that is from James Gall. Great Britain into the circle on the back post, and Ansel was the player coming in at the back post.
Everybody ready?
Hendricks on the left-hand castle. It goes to Hendricks, and up off the stick of the post player, who I think was Dixon, and it is Belgium who have the lead. At the top of the circle, and it's going to be Roper. Roper goes low, and Roper scores. It's almost exactly the same as the one he scored against the Netherlands. Shifted on by Keener. Tombeau scores. 2-1. Beautiful pick up from Tombeau, and it just moved it with his first touch into just the right position. Clock is stopped until comes in. It's Kasai's straight at Payne, who just turns it round the post. Comfortable save for Payne. And the defender's out of position to the head of the circle. Ansel into the circle. Chance for Forsyth. And it's got across the face of goal, and Shipley wasn't really ready for it. Forsyth, beautiful take. Forsyth dancing, trying to get it free. There's so many white shirts, and there the shot comes in. It's a goal. Is it Waller? His first senior international goal. And he's brought things level. Smith and Keener down that left-hand side. This is Wenye again. Wenye.
Thank you for your advice.
Postal save. Unbelievable. All over the top of Picard. And a chance there. Oh, it just got stuck behind. Ball across. It's still there. Payne makes the save. And somehow Belgium haven't got the ball in the net. Stop Brooks across the face of goal. Smith missed it again, and somehow Payne makes the save from Denayer. Well, Smith has missed, what, 3 balls now?
Yeah, 3 or 4 at least, and that's relatively easy. That's a good save from Payne from Denayer.
Maybe Forrest didn't see it, and here's a chance for Forsyth. He's got support in the middle if he needs it with Roper. Forsyth into the circle, and an easy save for Van Doren. Have to be careful here, Great Britain. And round the back goes Van Obel, across they go, they're lining up. And Calnan, with an unbelievable bit of defending as John Doman threatened to give Belgium the lead once again. Van Doren, Renier, where's that going to go? Here is Tom Bone. Tom Bone across the face of goal. Good save, it's still there, it's in. It's John Doman who has scored. Did that come off the bar at some stage? They're going to go upstairs here.
Loreen, there's no clear reason to change your decision. It's a goal.
So John Doman. Still going, Antoine Keener. Keener into the circle. Keener on the reverse stick. Drags it wide. And that will waste the clock. And there is the full-time hooter. And just as we thought we might be going to a shootout, up pops John Doman, the most experienced player on the park, winning cap number 396 to settle the tie with 90-odd seconds remaining.
It's been just over 2 years since Danny Carey took over as head coach of the Great Britain and England's men's teams, having previously overseen the most successful period in the history of the women's squads. We sat down with Danny to reflect on those 24 months in charge, as well as getting his thoughts on the postponement of the Olympic Games, and also finding out what he and his family got up to when they were unable to play hockey earlier this year.
Yes, so for me personally, it's been quite nice to stop, but I really appreciate that for a lot of other people. It's been a pretty horrific time, you know, with impact on lives and health and families. For me personally, it's actually been an opportunity for me to stop. Sort of 2018 was an incredibly busy year, straight into a very, very busy 2019, and so actually it allowed me just to stop and take stock a little bit. And then the lads, we've been back training approximately 12 or so weeks now, sort of a graded return. That's been a challenge for a coach, you know, trying to come up with sessions that are really, really meaningful and have impact while still within the restrictions required for distancing. And more recently we've been sort of allowed back into full contact, and you can see that the lads have really responded well to that. So yeah, strange times, but it's been good to be back on the pitch with the lads, and I think the lads have enjoyed the break, and it's sort of refreshed them, so overall feeling pretty good. Yeah, I imagine probably all coaches who ask this question may say the same thing, and that is, oh brilliant, another year of preparation, really. That's certainly how I felt. I mean, my context is I came to the men in very, very late 2018, and so, you know, there's a real conscious decision: do we sort of stick with the way they were playing, or do we change? And with change, it takes a lot of time to sort of bed down and get right. So when I heard it had been delayed, I was kind of very concerned about some of the athletes who'd made really good plans to move on after the games and to start families, start careers, and sort of concerned for their welfare. But at the same time, it's like, okay, good, we've got an extra year to kind of nail down what we do and the way we do it. So I wasn't, if I'm honest, I wasn't overly disappointed that they were cancelled a year. So in terms of outcomes, obviously we had a semi-final with England in the World Cup, and then with Great Britain we made the grand finals of the Pro League. So on the surface, you know, reasonably okay in terms of outcome. I think for me, I'm more happy with sort of where we've been process-wise. I think I've given 36, or capped 36 different players over that period of time. So I spent a lot of time looking at what we have in terms of depth. We've deliberately got set about experimenting with combinations and with tactics to again, particularly for myself, understand what the players can do and can't, and how quickly they can take on concepts and can't, and which has given me a really good understanding therefore of the depth of the group, what they can, their rate of learning, what they're comfortable with, what they struggle with, and that's really sort of that extra year that I spoke about earlier has now allowed me to think, okay, what does that mean for this run into Tokyo 21? Yeah, I was going to give you the sad coach answer then. So I spent quite a bit of time sort of thinking where are we as the men's programme at? What do we need to do better, simplify, both not just the what, sort of technically, tactically, but also the how we're delivering it. And then I spent quite a lot of time with my two daughters, introducing them to the wonders of Ordnance Survey maps and public footpaths, and spent a lot of time finding quite amazing walks actually all over Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire, and that was fantastic, really, really good. Normally don't get to spend that kind of quality time with the family, and then an awful lot of cycling.
It's almost time for the end of the show, but not before we have one last bit of fun. We've already tested to see how in sync George Pinner and Adam Dixon are. Now let's have a look at how competitive they can be against each other. We did this through a simple blindfolded penalty stroke competition, for which the rules are, whilst wearing a blindfold or a hat pulled down over their eyes, each player had one attempt to take a penalty flick from 3 different areas of the circle. So that's in total 3 attempts each. Whoever scores the most goals wins. Let's find out who the victor was.
Here we go. You got to go high. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, hang on. Where's the ball? Forward. Forward. Yeah, that's the ball.
I go in?
Okay, to me. Keep coming. Yeah, that'll do. No, keep going. I was joking. Keep going. Here's the ball.
Where?
Don't touch the ball. You can't touch the ball.
Where is it?
There.
Put my stick on the end of it. Okay.
Or bar? Was it the last one? No, definitely not the bar. You're not strong enough. Wide! Oh. That's what you normally shout at me.
Did the first one go in?
The first one did go in.
1-0.
Oh gosh.
You can see it. You can get that.
I'm trying reaching for the ball. Ready?
Right, he's looking this time. He's working. Come on then. Oh, this is his second.
Where did that go?
It's all on
did that go in?
And it's in record.
Did that go in?
It went in.
It's embarrassing.
He's definitely moved the hat so you can see. There you go. Oh, that's it. I'm so bitter. 3-0.
2-0.
Adam's first take.
No, 3-1.
I won 1-0.
You scored 1.
Retake, so Adam wins 3-1.
You scored 1, mate.
Watch out.
It's not bad for a goalie.
So, whilst on the face of it, that did look like a victory to Adam, we do have a small confession to make and say that was his second attempt. In his first attempt, which we didn't quite capture on camera, he only scored 0, so we felt that it wasn't quite right to award him the outright victory. Instead, we've combined his and George's scores to give them 4 out of 6 and set that as a marker for Holly Pernwebb and Susanna Townsend to try and beat tomorrow. That's all for today's show, but hockey's in-house weekend is still very much up and running. Straight after this, we have some highlights of classic encounters between Great Britain and Germany to follow, before looking back at one of the funniest hamster wheel halftime challenges that we've ever seen. We'll be back at the same time on Facebook and YouTube tomorrow morning for the second episode of Inside the Circle, so make sure you set your alarms because you won't want to miss it.